got the man that y'all been questioning me about all day. He on here. We had to get him on here. We set this up about 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Pastor. And I might just end up saying Kasin. So, but I want to be formal in my introduction. Yeah, he has watched Healthy and Holy, so he know what it looks like when we start doing intros. So I'm gonna let him come. Y'all know the topic. Y'all, the topic is going to be big. He wrote this book. He wrote this book 2 years ago. I saw it pop up last year, and I said, "Well, who writes a book like that?" And then I realized, I was like, "I know this brother. I didn't see him." I said, "Oh," I said, "Why he write this book?" You know. So, and I'm sitting there like, he right though. Marriage ain't for everyone. And so tonight we going through. We gonna ask some questions of the book. And so I would like the only formal thing he might get on Healthy and Holy tonight after people start talking. It's Pastor. And Pastor be working, y'all. I really think it's overseas. That's how you got elevated in your
I did, but we're not gonna talk about that. Let's
no, okay. Okay, well, I want to honor him. I respect it because this brother is working hard. He has an earned degree and is earning another one. But Pastor Kasin Hamilton is going to come on tonight. He know what book we're talking about because he wrote it. And I told y'all we're gonna talk about some ships tonight because we got people that they ride all the ships that you talked. The whole definition of ships. And so I think somebody is on here. I think you invited them to come on.
Yeah,
but I want him to introduce.
They've been texting me about your page because I can't share it on my page. Okay. I'm trying to share it.
I'm going to share it again, and I'm going to connect you to my page because tonight I need people to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, we're gonna
my brother.
Yeah, let's call some
because we finna give it to you. Yeah, and I want people to know, like at the end, we are gonna get Pastor Kasin's information. So that y'all can follow. This brother got a whole church in Atlanta. So some of y'all might find a church home tonight because you might who had the audacity to write a book inviting us to embrace something that really, Kasin in real life, the church literally will be like, nah, you gotta be married. You gotta do this.
Correct.
Hold on, I got this double play.
There we go. All right. So we cooking now. I want nobody to fuss at me. Let me get this straight. All right. There we go.
All right.
Yeah. We got
it out here. And I'm saying his church sharing it, y'all. We finna share it. I'm finna share it myself because it's finna be good. So putting it out here for everybody. So yeah, I want you to introduce yourself formally again, and then we're gonna dig right in because the people are coming tonight because they want to hear what you have to say.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on tonight. I greatly appreciate it, and the work that you're doing. I pray that we don't cause too many problems tonight, but I pray that this will be edifying and cutting edge and illuminating. I have watched your ministry and broadcast from afar. I see you like to take people to the very edge and make them think about if they want to jump off or not of the cliff with you. So I see how your ministry operates. It is really Pauline apostolic in nature, even though you may not agree with all the Pauline writings, but it's very Pauline in such where that it really provokes thoughts of mind, body, and spirit and really pushes people to another level in the kingdom. And that's great. So I greatly appreciate for being here on tonight.
I am honored that you came. So, because when I asked, I was like, this brother gonna tell me now. But you was like, no, I watched you and I see you taking people to the edge. So tonight we're going to the edge. When I read, when I read it, I was like, okay. I said, this gonna be a pastor that's gonna try to spin this, and you got this title out here to make me want the book.
No, listen.
You're gonna try to convince me that we need to be seeking marriage, blah blah blah. No, that is exactly not what you did. You literally titled this book what it is. Like, if you want to get married, these are the things you need to understand. And can I be honest? I'm absolutely not ready to do some of the stuff you got in the back of this book. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm ready to expect. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I don't know if I'm ready to talk about my family and them not forgetting. My sister cousin is real crazy, and it's clear to remind me about the bull that has happened between somebody else.
You've been reading.
That what I'm saying, like, and brings it up. Like, you remember when they did that to you, though, and you really trying to, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, no, and I don't, so I don't know. But tonight we're gonna get to the ships. But this is the first thing, y'all. The intro took me out. His intro about not being married was almost as bad for me as Oprah Hendricks deciding in Christians against Christianity, starting out with that one sentence that said it's a travesty. I said, who? I said, who writes a sentence that says a travesty? And that's how you start your book.
Okay.
You come in after these statistics, after paragraph 1, you come in and say a wedding is not the actual marriage. I said, oh, this is what we want to do in the intro. Wedding and not actually being married. Like, some people come in and realize I had a wedding. I'm not actually we didn't get married. We just had a wedding. So when I counsel in my therapeutic practice, I literally started out telling the couple, hey, y'all getting married. And they like, yeah, they get excited about it. I said, what have you done for the marriage? Everything they rattle off, Kasin, is, oh, I got my dress, I got this, I got that. We done got a venue. I said, no, that's a wedding. That's what y'all done did for the marriage. Oh, I love her. That's normally what the guy say. So I do whatever she want me to do for the marriage. No.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
And then she's like, yeah, he I run it. I said, oh, okay, y'all. I said, y'all not gonna make it. Just had a couple last month, they got married. And when I say, I wish I had your book in my hand.
I'm gonna get some copies to you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I got it right here. I got it.
I'm gonna get you 2 or 3 for your.
I need to have it for my office because I'm telling you that couple needed your book in 2019, so they got engaged or whatever. And when I tell you, they came in all bubbly eyed. They set their date in 2022, like the beginning of 2022. February 2022 is when they had set their date. It was so bad after just your intro. And they moved it all the way to May of 2023. They literally had to change the date because they were not ready. Wow. Like they just were not ready because they didn't understand the definition of marriage versus wedding. So tonight, as we start, what made you distinguish that everybody? Marriage is not for everyone. There's a particular reason you named it marriage, like, and it defines it well. So, what got you to this point of being able to say marriage is not for everyone?
The biggest thing that I felt that way is because, first of all, practically, then also spiritually. One thing I always say is that the church is good at getting us to have a wedding, but it's hard with us keeping us married. So let's go back from the spiritual standpoint. Oftentimes in church, we're getting married based upon the sin concept. It is better to marry than to burn with lust. So now the basis of why we get married is I'm trying to prevent from going to hell and I'm trying not to sin. It has nothing to do with the wedding. It has nothing to do with covenant. It's based upon I'm now getting married, not based upon love, but based upon lust. So now I'm trying to avoid my personal flesh in order to appease myself, the pastor, whoever ecclesiastical structure I'm part of, to make sure that I look spiritual. That's why oftentimes I put in the book, and also I say at church, difference between lust and love is the second letter, and lust is a you because lust is about you. So when it comes down to lust, it's all selfishness. What do I want? What do I feel? What do I think? Love is totally different because love is self-sacrificing. It's ascetic, so it has nothing to do with you. So that's the first concept. Then the second thing, marriage is not for everyone because everyone doesn't have the intellectual, the emotional, the spiritual makeup to be married to someone who is just marred and jaded as they are. Because when you're deciding to marry somebody, you're saying that I'm marrying an imperfect person trying to come together under a perfect covenant and saying, I'm going to love you till death do us apart. So psychologically, you have to be a little bit off to be married because you are married to an issue because you're an issue yourself. So these are all of the highlights in our mind that we have to think about before we decide about getting married. So a lot of people don't even fall up under that umbrella, but they are enamored or they have the euphoria of being married, but they don't have the mindset, the ethos, or the spiritual makeup to stay married.
So first of all, you try to come and say, we take the people to the edge, and in 2 minutes, you done took the people to the edge of less. We ain't even finished your
I
intro.
just
You took it to the
started.
edge.
Listen, I just
You took it
started.
to the edge. Like highlighted is what somebody
I just started.
highlighted. You just get started. So
We're gonna
y'all
take our
want y'all to
time.
take your time. We're gonna take our time. So I already told him that it was things we're gonna highlight. In chapter 9, we definitely gonna talk about selfishness.
Okay.
In just a moment. But we're gonna what made you say, you know what? Let me sit down and write a relationship dictionary, and I'm gonna go through what's in the dictionary. This might prompt some of y'all to get with our brother pastor tonight because he
Okay. I
has a
got my book too.
relationship dictionary,
Okay.
and it's the ship dictionary. That's what I'm gonna call it. We have adolescent ship, business ship,
Okay.
complacent ship. Some of us been in a complacent ship. I ain't gonna lie, I got married in a complacent ship. You've been with
Okay.
somebody 10 years, you might as well get married. The song is a lie. Let's get married. We ain't get no younger. And I don't want to grow old with you neither. Anyhow, so cultural ship, financial ship. Now, some of y'all, I ain't gonna lie. If somebody with some sugar walk up, never mind. I'm just joking.
Oh, I mean,
The grieving ship.
yep.
Now we got grievances at work, but some people really do get married because they grieving being alone. He about to do it. Like he didn't put the book in. Y'all gonna want this just for these pages. Lonely ship. That's the ship. That's the ship that happened in COVID. That ship was packed down. That looked like a carnival cruise. Religion ship. Because somebody at the church said you need to get married to burn. He already said that one. Sensual ship. Sensual. Like I just need touch. I need to get this done. And the only way I can make that happen. I was gonna say who told you, but what prompted you to write this dictionary? Because those definitions, that's what took me out at the beginning of this book.
Because in the entire realm of life, we're all in relationships, but the difference of each relationship is based upon what you are desiring or looking for within that relationship. Therefore, when we marry people, we're in the marriage, but you may be married or going to go into a marriage with someone who have two different perspectives. Therefore, if I'm in a grief ship, which means I just lost my spouse, not necessarily I love you, but you notice as a psychologist, and people are often quicker to marry the second time because now they're trying to fill in that gap with the person they lost before. Then you have another person who's on the other side that say, hey, I'm pushing towards 40 and it's time for me to have kids. My mother's on my back. I'm tired of being single. So there are two different people coming in with two different ideas of what the relationship is. And then it falls apart because it's called a relationship, which means can your ship stand the test of time or even the storm? So when the things of life hit it, will the storm keep your ship together or will it break it apart? And the only way that it's going to stand is based upon the foundation. That's based upon. That's why even Jesus says, he said there were several men who built houses on different foundations, but when the storm came, when their foundation wasn't solid, it fell away. It goes back to when we was growing up as kids, the Three Little Pigs. The Three Little Pigs was about what house is your foundation on. When the wolf comes and blow your house, if it's made up of straw, if it's made up of hay, it's going to fall. So that's the whole point of the idea of a relationship.
Okay, so I got everybody to watch me a little bit.
Okay.
So some of y'all might understand that from New Edition song.
Yeah.
Can you stand the rain? Some of my people they date back right there. Y'all know.
Yes.
Johnny was singing too. He sounds so good about it.
Correct.
Can you? So the ship, y'all. What is the reason you got married? I do not want to pump up Tyler Perry tonight, but that was a really good question. Why'd you get married? Like that? What was
Correct.
the reason? And I'm a firm believer that if you know the reason why you got married, your marriage will survive. That's why these definitions are there. I've met some business ships, and they were very clear that they was business. Like
Okay.
we got married because, and they stood the test of time because they had their own rules. We're gonna get to there in a minute. Because when I say Kasin didn't miss nothing, he talked about the contractual pieces of your marriage.
Uh-oh.
We get
Oh, you've been reading.
oh yes. Yes, and if my friend watched tonight, Jackie came for me. I called her name out. She came because I was sitting there reading it in front of her. I said, "Sis." So here we are. Now, this is the other thing after the ship. Yeah, this man crazy. He said dating is an interview. Now I've said that to clients. I have not said that publicly, but he decided to write it in a book. And so I love this invite I love it for all my people who are watching that are dating, and it's and you want to be married. You want that covenant relationship. It's so much more to go with that. So let's talk about it. Like the interview is really important.
Yes.
But how did you even see that rationale to where you knew it was a body of people that really needed to get that permission slip to interview?
Because I think that in the dating world now, people have it backwards. That when they're dating, they treat it like a marriage, and when they're married, they treat it like they're dating. The process is
Oh,
flipped. So therefore, when you're dealing with the idea of an interview, even I put in the book, it's a wordplay of when you interview someone, you are enter in their view. You're getting an idea of how they think, how they move, how they operate. Now, with the interview, is this: if you've ever been in business, you understand. Just because I have multiple applicants, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to get the job. The part of the interview is to ask the pertinent questions based upon the job description that you need and want to make sure that your company stays afloat with that individual. Therefore, your questions should be tailor made based upon what you're looking for as the company CEO and not what other people are looking for. And then after you look at the applicants, you say, this one is not going to fit, you move it out the way. This one is not going to fit, you move out the way. This may be kind of, let me call them back for a second interview or a date, because I need to have something called a vetting process to understand where your mind is. So therefore, you cannot feel guilty in dating. There should be no guilt in dating. Therefore, if it doesn't work out, I'm not responsible to call you back, to text you, to check on your feelings. We're just dating. This is not a marriage. This is not a
ooh,
covenant. Therefore, I'm not obligated to be with you. But the problem is now is that our dating pools and dating can be so filled with so many fish that you can't decipher which fish you want. It's called plenty of fish for a reason, because you can have plenty of
ooh.
fish, but every fish that you catch doesn't mean to stay on the boat. But some of the fish you may need to hook it, look at it, and throw it back in.
Listen, y'all. Now y'all sitting here in this chat. Y'all sitting here in this chat, and I want to scream. Actually, I'm just screaming anyway because he said I'm not obligated because dating is the dating process is a vetting process,
Vetting
and I'm
process.
not obligated if you ain't get the job to call you back and check on your feelings. Oh my God, like I'm not obligated. Kasin, that what you just said, when I say that's the most toxic thing that has come my way, is that you stay connected because you're not trying to hurt somebody's feelings. Again, we have different sacred texts on healthy and holy, and Jasmine invited us to not be worried about nobody's feelings. Jasmine Sullivan, she said, she invited us to that process. Like, I'm not gonna sit here with your feelings, because at the end of the day, you ain't make my process. And I love how you wrote this book, because it wasn't I wrote this for brothers, or I wrote this for sisters, or I wrote this for
Yeah,
anybody in this. You wrote this for people. I
correct.
love the fact that it says everyone. Like, you wrote this for people. So this is for men and women, those identifying as men and women. You have a right to sit in this vetting process
Correct.
100%. And so it comes back to what you said about the pool. There's plenty of fish,
Correct.
but you the first pass I done had on here that done gave some permission for people to vet folk.
You have to. Even even
Whew.
even even Jesus, he's vetted his disciple. He didn't pick any and everyone. Every disciple that he picked had a job. They was an entrepreneur. They had some business acumen about themselves. So even Jesus was very strategic in who he chose to follow him. So vetting process is a part of the kingdom. I don't even want to get into all of that, but being selected, being anointed, that's a vetting process. Samuel goes to the house. He goes to the house. He says, the king is here. He had to go through 7 people before he got through the eighth one, which was the vetting process for the king. So that's a part of dating also.
So normally I try to wait to the end for questions on purpose, but not tonight. This ain't one of those conversations, because we need
Yeah.
to hit it while we there.
Yeah.
And I love what my friend Dr. Sherry just put up. She said, all of this you saying is easier said than done. Like, so how did you get, how can we help people tonight about this? Like, one thing you put, is while dating, there is no such thing as a dumb question. There's nothing that's off limits on questions. Again, I agree with her on that because you're sitting there like, I don't want to know, but it's something about the truth while you're dating that sets up the rest of your relationship. Can
Correct.
you speak to that invite to truth for the people watching tonight? Because I'm with Dr. Sherry. This is you talking like it's easy, like oh, it's a simple 1, 2, 3 process. But now, because I'm out here on one of these ships, this vetting process is getting more difficult
Oh yeah.
every day
Well,
that I'm sitting out here doing this.
all
So
right.
can we
So let's
talk
go.
about the honesty?
Let's go here with Dr. Sherry Brown. All right. So marriage is not for everyone. First and foremost, I want to go here. Oftentimes we read the scripture text, we skip over scriptures that fit us, and we skip over scriptures that does not fit us. One scripture that I always like to give people, even in counseling, is 1 Corinthians 7:28. If you're taking notes, and I'm gonna make it practical. Paul said something in 1 Corinthians 7:28 that we never talk about. He said, you go read the Bible. He said, those who will be married will face many troubles in this life. 1 Corinthians 7:28. Pick that up. Somebody fact check me. Somebody fact check
She
me. He said,
and why you fact checking do it? Because she even made the question even simpler. She said, "How you keep your feelings out of the process?" Dr. Sherry, I think he about to take us there because that thing
you about to get there.
that
Yeah.
text.
So First Corinthians 7:28 says that we will face many troubles in lifetime, those who will be married. So first and foremost, we know that you're going to face opposition when it comes down to marriage because it is a covenant. Therefore, if we go to the beginning, Genesis, the book of beginnings or the book of genes, the book of DNA, the first thing we see is that Adam and Eve, once they became together as a covenant, two became flesh, then the serpent comes up. Is the job of the serpent is to disrupt the covenant that is connected to two people. That's number one. Number two, the process of getting the feelings out of the process is that you cannot grow in any metric of life if it's based upon feelings. I put in the book, love is an action word and not a feeling. Love is an action word, not a feeling. For God so loved the world that he gave. He didn't give feelings, he gave an action. If love were based upon feelings, Jesus would never gave because his feeling towards sinful humanity would have said, I have nothing to do for them. But and when you love someone or going through the process of love, love will cause pain, love will cause hurt, love will cause frustration. Now let's put the pen right here. You have to ask yourself if you're single, though, as I put in the book, am I willing to take the risk in order to get the ring or to abide myself in love? Because let's be honest, going into marriage is like stocks. It's an investment. You may strike big, you may hit big, you may lose everything you got because love is a risk, right? So now we have to think to ourselves, how bad do you really want to be married? Because once again, to go through the process of getting married, it's not easy. In order, I just heard this in my spirit. In order for Christ to marry the church, what did he have to do in order for him to get to the altar? He had to give of himself everything. All right. So if you're not willing to give of yourself everything, move yourself out the process, get the emotions out of it. One of the biggest things, even from a business standpoint, one of the biggest things is when you're a manager or supervisor, you know this, you can never become in love with the employees because at some time you may have to rebuke the employees or fire the employees. So therefore, even in the dating process, you should love someone, but you cannot fall in love with everyone. Guard your heart above everything else because out of it flows the issue of life. Your heart is made as a whole and not in broken pieces. If God wanted you to give your heart to everybody, he would have gave you fragments of it, but he only gave you one. So you got to be careful who you give it
to. We need to pause. I need a collection plate, a virtual collection plate. Y'all need to go put your offering in now. My friend Odessa, and she's talking about, I don't think I want right now as a cruise ship because that is a lot of offering.
Not easy.
I don't want a cruise ship. So what you just said, oh my God. And I don't think we realize in that, like, because in today's age, we do talk about, having your identity. The book does not invite us to lose our identity. It literally says you get to pick who you want to be with, the right one, and how you work. But you did talk about timing and identity, and I thought it was neat how you used the chapter about grief and timing with your parents. I thought that was so intimate to even give us that
Mm-hmm.
gift to read about that,
Mm-hmm.
and the loss of your parent, and you let us share with that. If you get the book, you will see what this goes to, and I'm merging two chapters, but
Okay.
because he invites us in the book. Don't lie on the altar. Don't get up there talking about how much you love somebody when you don't even know them, because you're gonna
Correct.
hit that point of pain. We talking about feelings, while they're alive, but he spoke of his parents' love as he watched the terms come to an end. Can you speak about? And I know I merged two chapters, but I did that because when I saw it, I realized timing is everything. Because you're gonna have to sit in time, move through time, and get to the end of this covenant and contract when you commit to that, for better or for worse, till death do us part. Is that okay to talk about? I don't want to bring up anything too hard.
Now we can as one writer said, grief is the price of love.
Oh
So
God.
when grief comes, it is love finally conceiving what has been carrying. So even in death, love is still love. Even in death, love still speaks. Even in death, love reminds you of love. But it's pain and grief because you loved. So there's no way to avoid pain when love is involved. That's why a mother can go down to the jail cell and visit her son because she loves him so much, but it's pain in the love because she wants more for him. Now, when we get to the altar, we say line at the altar because we say for better or for worse, sickness and in health, richer for poor, to death do us apart. These are all two extremes that we're standing at the altar saying that we agree with. There's nobody on this line right now. They got to the altar and Val said, I'm going to love you and you're going to be broke for the rest of your life. I'm going to love you and you're going to be sick for the rest of your life. I'm going to love you as you're going to beat on me, you're going to abuse me, you're going to be emotionally trauma. I'm going to love you. So we never really sit down and think about the vows that we are vowing to. That's why even Jesus said, God even said, he said, be careful to make a vow. Because listen, you're gonna have to pay for that vow that you made. So even that we have to think through these things that do I love this person that much that I'm willing to go through all the different seasons of my life and to still stay with them? This is why Solomon said there's a time and a season for everything. Solomon said there's a time for laughing, there's time to cry, time for dancing, there's time for mourning, there's time for peace, there's a time for war, there's a time to speak, there's a time to be silent, there's a time to refrain from fighting, there's a time to fight. He says in every season of your life, there's going to be a different time to do something. But love will always stand the test of time because love is an action and not a feeling. Therefore, I choose to love you. I don't feel my way into loving you because if I feel my way into loving you, I can feel my way out of loving you.
Yeah, I used to be a VJ. You ain't supposed to have this kind of dead space. There's a dead space that need to be right there. My God. So now this, I don't, I didn't see this in the book. It might be, I might have missed it. But you just said something that, I mean, it hit me so hard because we fall in love. This is, and we fall, and
Yeah.
so PJ Morton and JoJo. You notice I'm using these songs like I love
Okay.
love. I think love is a beautiful thing.
It
But they
is.
got a lyric in their song, and it says, "I don't want to fall in love alone." That's the lyric.
Correct.
And you just said something so powerful about love being an action. As a therapist, we'll say love is therapeutically. We try to say love because we merge love and compassion sometimes.
Correct.
Compassion is the feeling there, and it's an action too to have a heart of compassion. And I'm feeling, and I'm in empathy. But can you go deep in that, because we fall in love, but if love is an
Because
action, I'm falling into, so it's an action on an action, which in some cases that don't make sense. An action on an action. So can you break down this love as an action word so we can help some people who falling so they won't have to follow along because
Correct.
that way they'll have that right to go get this interview done.
Meaning love is an action, meaning that when God created relationships, he created relationships that on both sides of the spectrum of this, you are a question, I am an answer. I am an answer, you are a question. The action of love is what you are inept in or what you can't do, I can complete for you. And what you can't do, I can complete for you. Therefore, God said, I will send you a help meet, Hebrew word, an aid or an assistant. Why would God send Adam an aid or assistant if he had control over everything? He sent him an aid or an assistant because there was something he needed aided and assisted in. The Hebrew also says suitable, help meet for him, suitable. So there are a lot of people who know this. Like when you get more money, when you're younger, you go to the suit store, you just buy a suit based upon your size. But once you become more in depth about wearing suits and becoming tailor made, they have a seamstress that you, after you purchase the suit, you go to the seamstress, and the seamstress then says, "Hey, you bought this suit, but it's not suitable for you yet. Therefore, we got to cut it in certain parts in order for you to fit this suit. Then, in order for you to cut and fit this suit, you have to put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Then go into the mirror and look at yourself and say, is what I have suitable for me? If it's not suitable for me, I either going to take it back or make some other cuts. Now, when we're dating, the problem is we're trying to put on stuff that's not suitable for us. Even more, we try to jump into marriage when we have not been cut. Therefore, if God brings you the perfect person for you, because you're not suitable, it does not fit, right? So now you're trying to, as I put in the book, sometimes I just laugh at my mother. Sometimes women will buy a shoe for a night that they know they're going to take back. It's uncomfortable. It looks good, but they know they don't want it. I'm just going to wear this to the ball tonight. And when I get home, I'm taking these shoes back. It looks good. Everybody, oh girl, your shoes look good. You look bad tonight. But she's uncomfortable the whole night. As soon as she get in her car, she taking them shoes off. She driving with Air Force Ones on because she has the optics of something that look good, but it never really fit her. But because she rushed and did not wait it, she took the first thing she saw on the shelf. Right? So now, when we talk,
I need somebody to put in this chat because we got people watching. Put in that
Miss Brown said leave shoes out of it.
leave the shoes out of this.
I'm sorry.
I want somebody to put in this chat. Is it suitable? Is it for optics? Somebody, because when somebody rewatch this, what they're gonna do is they're gonna hear that. Is it suitable? Which means are we continuing to grow and fit? Because you could get suits tailored, right? That I heard you just say that you get it tailored for you. Or is it for optics? Oh my God. So we got a question. I told y'all tonight we gonna sit with these questions. Normally we'll wait to the end. Oh my God, is it suitable? Is it for optics? I'm gonna put the question up. Odessa likes to start stuff.
Is it love we are falling to or something else?
she like this is my sister. She like to start things. So that's fine. We're gonna start it right here.
That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, love is a decision, not a feeling. It is a decision and not a feeling. Therefore, I choose to love you. Therefore, I choose to forgive you. Therefore, I choose to work through all of your inadequacies. Therefore, I choose to put up with the imperfect side of you. Therefore, I choose to discuss things with you that I discussed before with you. Therefore, I choose to marry you when I know that you are flawed. Therefore, I choose to be with you when I know that you are broke. Therefore, I choose to be with you even though you have not been treating me the way I want to be treated. These are all decisions and choices and not feelings, because feelings cannot be trusted. Feelings fluctuate. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you say, I don't feel like going to work, I'm going to quit my job, feelings will not stop your bills from coming. But you choose to go to work because you understand the priority of the job and the ramifications if I do not work. Therefore, we have to stop looking at marriage through a fairy tale lens of, if it doesn't feel right, if I don't get goosebumps, if I don't feel a certain way, then that doesn't mean that I should be married. No, love is a decision. Therefore, the purpose of this book is to push people to another level of thinking. Have I thought through all the processes in my mind that when I say I do, it's not based upon I'm getting older. I want to change my Facebook profile. I need to save some money. I'm trying to have a child. But I have to sit down and say, am I choosing to love this flawed individual like me? And when I say yes, is it in peace or is it in I don't really know, I think so? Because if your love is based upon a gray area, you're gonna have a whole bunch of issues that's bigger than Grey's Anatomy. I promise you that.
Man, okay, so because Odessa like the star stuff, I should have told her to come on here tonight because she like the star stuff. This is what she do. Some of us just have poor decision making and lack accountability for our decisions. So there's a whole chapter that he talks about. So can you please talk about the selfish chapter? You said selfishness is for singles. Like,
Oh yeah. What chapter is that? Let me go to my chat. I can't remember. I wrote it down.
I was that offended, but then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it.
I mean, selfishness is
it's chapter 9. It's chapter 9.
Okay. Selfishness is for single people because when you're a single, it's an I, it's not a we. The joke I always make is for a single person. If you go to Wendy's today, your bill may be $10.13. If I go to Wendy's today, my bill may be $30, $35. Why? Because I'm going with someone else. It's called marriage. If you go home right now as a single person, you may say, take your shoes off at the door. You got your couch in a certain space. You don't want to touch your rash. You can color coordinate it. But what happens when you get married and you're a neat freak and your spouse is not as clean as you? So now, when you marry someone, you are merging together, not just your body physically, but every aspect of their life. Time management, financial stability, cleanliness, thought process, psychology, rearing and raising of kids, spiritual ethics, the lack thereof, all of these things, educational background, all of these things are merging. So when you're single, you can be selfish because you dictate the entire world that you're in. You have your own cosmos. I go as I please. I do as I want. I sleep when I want to sleep. But what about when you get married? You want peace and quiet and your spouse want to sit up and watch TV. How about when you say, hey, I want to create a budget now because I want to live under a certain budget, but your spouse has bad spending habits. So if you are a selfish person at your core and you don't want to compromise, you want to do your own thing, that's a good thing. But don't decide to get married to someone and then want them to be a mirror of you because they're not a mirror of you. If you want a mirror, stay single. But if you want another whole person, you should get married.
I can't tonight. Another pause. Y'all, this a preacher, so you see his cadence. That's the first time I heard. I've been doing healthy holy for about 5 years. That's the first time I had somebody come on here and admit that it's okay in your singleness to be selfish. Now, he's not saying go out and mishandle people or anything like that. This selfish moment is, man, do you in your space. Do you in your space? Like it's yours. Manage it. Do you know?
Ms. Brown said it great. Yes. I agree. Selfish is a strong word to use for single people. Selfishness only comes when one cannot consider another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what he's saying. That's what I was about to say. It is not saying that you go out and mishandle people. The use of selfishness, and for this context, is take care of you. So
correct.
There's a book. I got it with me too. I forgot to pull it out, but it's a book about intimacy by Sabonfu Somé, and they talk about how what you just said. She's talking about, when you get married, you're not just marrying this individual and you finna make them look like you. You marrying all of them, so you finna bring in them, they village. All of that is coming in. Y'all got to figure out what that looks like together and have some support. So. Right. As we move, I do want to talk about what that support looks like, because in your book, you talk about when your family don't forget. if you move into, you talk about when your family don't forget the stuff. What does that support look like? Because we are moving past this moment where I get to be, and I talk about selfish too. And I believe that self-care requires this ish. And ish in this case isn't bad. That ish is saying, hey, I really do need to pull back and take care of me, take care of my space. Even when you are married, Kason, you still got to find those moments to have your ish moment. Like, what are you
Correct.
doing to breathe so that you can come back? Because what you just said was so powerful. You are not that person's mirror. You have
Yeah.
married a whole human and y'all are making life together. That one
Yeah.
and one, y'all coming
Correct.
together. That's a multiplication moment in my mind. Like it's still equal one, and y'all are coming to build life together. So, which means if you're growing, they still growing, and y'all are building and moving together. And here's what. Oh, so like, can we talk about like what does it look like when all of this stuff comes and integrates? Like you bringing, I brought me, and you and your wife brought each other. I'm pretty sure she got a family that came
Correct.
along with her, and you did too.
Correct.
What does it
Correct.
look like in that integration?
So I'm a transparent preacher. We first got married. She's very family oriented. So when we first got married, her family would come over to the apartment and they all up in the front laughing and giggling, hee ha ha ha. And sometimes I'll be back in my room because I was used to being to myself. Now, you got two different personalities going on. Someone who's family oriented, used to be around family, me being to myself. Situation like that, it caused friction because in my mind, I'm thinking that's your family, not our family, but that's your family. She's thinking you're a part of this family, so you need to ingratiate yourself into the family. All right. So now, in the naiveness of my of marriage being very young, I didn't understand that both families that come merged together, they should be support systems. Therefore, they are all around us to help us navigate through this thing called marriage. All right. So now, as I write this book, the Lord reminded me of that because He gave me the picture of when you get married, you look at the altar. You have the woman on one side, the man on one side, vice versa, vice versa. You have bridesmaids, you have the grooming on one side. Oftentimes on both sides of the altar is both families because these two families are merging together and becoming one. So families should be support systems. The problem is oftentimes something that my mother dealt with my grandmother is that sometimes when you get married, even family spouses, brothers and sisters, they don't know their boundaries. Right?
Woo.
You can be a support system, but you should know your boundary. Therefore, my mother and father, when they got married, my grandmother sometimes would not know her boundary and cause friction, to not understand, yeah, that's my daughter, but now she is his wife. So now I have to be more strategic in what I say and how I navigate in it. So what happens is sometimes in marriage, we don't understand the covenant of marriage, and then we take what's in the house and we take it outside the house, which led to the chapter that I wrote that once you release the mess to your family, they won't forget. So now they're storing all of this mess in their head. She did this, he did that, they said this. Now you have forgiven your spouse, you moved on, but now they're going to keep the mess going. So in the context of a support system, even in marriage as family, you have to be very methodical in who you share your business with, what you share about your business, and how far you go with your business. Because even though they're a support system, there are other family members I've seen, and you counsel too, that will destroy marriages. So you have to have boundaries. Therefore, sometimes it's better to talk to a stranger than someone who has your last name, because the stranger may not bring you back the mess, but the last name can bring you back the mess and destroy everything. Because all of us as humans, there's a moment of weakness. We get upset, we start talking, da 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 da. We released it now, and you don't know secretly that family member jealous of you. Secretly, that family member's upset that you even got married or don't even like the person that you are with. Now that y'all going through a process of healing, they now come back and bring that trauma, and it causes a whole nother layer of issues. So it's good to have a support system, but even in family, you have to be very strategic in who you invite in your marriage for that support system.
Man, and I'm gonna keep I'm moving now between two books, and Dr. Jamie Eddy is on here. This my grief doctor. I'm gonna say what come back, but this moving in between these two books, because even the invite from the intimacy book, the invite is who in your village is there, speaking from Afrocentric perspective, African centered way of looking at intimacy. Who in your village do you go to when that rupture has happened? That's gonna make you take care of it right there, not take it to
Yeah.
the rest of the village.
Correct.
They're gonna make you
Yeah.
take care of it right there, and it stays right there in that ash space, and
Correct.
how you sacrifice the time to heal. That's how I read that, and I explain that to my couples in Western thought. Who's gonna
Correct.
make you do that? And that is where your support is. Versus sometimes we think support is present, but it's really our protectors. They ready to pounce, they ready to go. They don't forget. That's why I love that chapter in the book. They don't forget anything. Like, you remember
Not at
when
all.
that person they stepped on your toe and they broke it and ain't say nothing. I mean, they ready for any little thing. And so thank you for putting that out there, because some people may go, it leads back to what Dr. Jamie was asking, and I put that up too, because she
Okay.
had an issue with that. You can't trust your feelings, because that there it is. And I wonder, can we together break that down?
Okay.
Because we had people throw out ego and say, especially in the black church, ego is bad. You can't have ego. That's not the invite from psychology and
That was not.
psychoanalysis. What the invite is, hey, take care of that little wound, that kid, and don't live so either that high super morale with, once again, I'm a mirror to somebody and you need to be perfect like me. Mind you, everybody in here is not perfect. If you on this screen tonight, if you watching, you got so many imperfections. I know I do. But that the invite is to have this balance of ego, which is gonna put you in a space where you can understand your feelings. So can we explain that statement? Because again, y'all get the work. He was not coming for Nick. That's why I love that. I'm really clear about who gets to come on this platform.
No.
Can we explain that you cannot trust your feelings the way you were going with it? Because I think the way you did it was one of the best ways. It wasn't just thrown out there in the sermon to make you feel well. It's in the book, and it's explained well around the navigation. He's not inviting us not to feel. That ain't what I got when I read
No,
the
not at
piece.
all.
Yeah. So can can
All
you
right.
can you break that down for us?
All right. Let's go to psychology. For God has not given us a spirit of fear. Now we talk about this. Oftentimes we talk about fear from a negative lens, but you, a psychology major, you understand that fear is a necessary component in your humanity, which also is a response for your fight or flight mechanism. Fear can save you. Fear can literally save your life. Even physiologically speaking, when fear enacts in your body, you become stronger, you become more aware, your senses become keen, your hands press fire. So fear is a good thing, but also fear, hear me carefully, is connected to a feeling. It's a navigational guide, but my feeling of fear is nothing I should trust. I should not trust it. It should help me navigate, but I should not trust it. I'm not saying that we cannot feel, but some of our feelings, let's be aware of this. Some of our feelings have been altered based upon our life experiences and trauma. So if 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 I had a bad experience in my last relationship where there was a man who did not compliment me on how I looked, he was always upset, where you going, what you look like, I don't care about how you look. Now you can create in your mind a prism of, when I wear things, I'm so self-conscious. Now you're dating a man who says, you look beautiful, I want you to put this on. Now feelings could pop up. Hey, is he trying to control me? Does he feel a certain way? Now this is how we handle feelings. Feeling is an indicator, it's a discernment. Now you have to vet that feeling through experience, through wisdom, through the, most importantly, through the character of the person that you're dealing with. Because I can feel that I cannot trust the person. I can feel that the person is harmful to me, but I have to navigate through this whole process. So the better wording I would say is that we can use feeling as a navigational guide, but feeling should not be the ultimate test of who we decide to be with or who we decide to marry. It's a part of the prism. I just heard this in my spirit. It's a part of the prism. So feeling can be the navigational guide. It can be the GPS, but you dictate where the car goes. Because the GPS can say rerouting, turn left, turn right. You can see where you need to go, but it's your decision. Should I trust the GPS? Do I see what's around me? Can I navigate through this to the ultimate decision? But feeling is a factor, but it's not the ultimate factor and the end all be all.
All right. So listen. Hold up. Why Cave done popped on here? First of all, Cave, we're not fooling with you tonight. So
Okay, boy.
Cave
What's up, bro?
popped on here. It's okay. So and Dr. Jamie said that's what she was trying to say. So when I say we in the vein tonight on this, vet the feelings. Like yeah, vet them. So
I apologize, Dr. Jamie. I'm gonna do better linguistics on here. Let me do better.
so, brother, it's all when I say it's all love on Healthy Holy, because we don't again, you don't watch this, so we don't have some go to the edge where people like I completely disagree, and that's fine. Because for the Black faith community, it is okay that we have these hard conversations.
Correct.
Because I promise you, there are gonna be some pastors that watch this tonight that absolutely disagree with that mirror comment. Oh God, they're gonna find a text for it. But no, you marrying a whole human. Like she not finna act like you. They opposites attract. They not. But how Rick Warren, I've been saying this since I heard it. He did a podcast. And he said, you're not marrying likability. You're not marrying for the beautification of that person. I said, okay, beautification. He said, you are marrying this person because of compatible traits that you believe you can grow with them. Correct. He said, so there is no such thing as instant compatibility from the standpoint of a forever. You have to know that their perspective of life may change as they grow. And you hit on it really good. Based upon your life experience is how you going to grow. Mm-hmm. You finna marry somebody that doesn't have a totally different life experience than you. Mm-hmm. So what triggers you don't trigger them, and you might have to be introduced to your vagus nerve. For those of you who read Resma Manikam's book, My Grandmother's Hands, you're gonna have to be introduced to your soul nerve. And guess who else gonna get the meeting? Your spouse. Yeah. So you might not like your spouse rubbing your hair because that's something you taught. Don't touch my hair. You're gonna have to teach what happens with your soul nerve to your spouse. And you're going to have to learn how to maneuver through those emotions, integrate them into levels of explaining and understanding what you need from your spouse, from your mate, from the person you with. And some of that comes from the interview. Now, what I'm not going to do is invite people to change their whole theology about how they feel about premarital stuff and all of that. I am going to invite you, though, to this interview. I'm going to invite you for my single people. Be as selfish. That ish is really important. Learn how to take care of yourself before you try to go take care of somebody else. That's really what that chapter is saying. Like go be sure about you before you commit to somebody else and realize I ain't sure about me, because that's not gonna make it. Be sure about what you mean with this commitment along with this covenant. It's a commitment. It is a whole contract. I don't know anybody got married that didn't have to go to the courthouse and sign some paperwork.
Correct.
if you're doing that somewhere in the United States of America, you ain't get married, because we got to sign paperwork to say I'm marrying you, and you turn it into your courthouse, and they give you back a piece of paper with a seal on it that says, and we believe you. And so now the next process, if you don't want to be married, is called divorce paperwork. And guess what? Correct. Same process. I got to sign. So I don't want to be married to you. They put the county seal on it. And guess what? You get a whole court order with rules on what it looked like to not be married to the person. So here's this contract, this commitment, and this covenant. Like as we move up, Pastor, please give us your information. I think it's all through the chat. Y'all, I have to keep doing part twos with people. I got like 18 part twos I got to do because y'all keep coming over here blowing people mind. Oh my God! And here goes Dr. Sherry. This is what people do when they come on Healthy Hope. Looking for one's better half is faulty theology. Ain't nowhere in the Bible where it says a half. There's a whole person. Now, Margaret said, but Pastor done said that tonight's got some weight on it. You marrying a whole human. That's what you're marrying. You're not marrying a half. Right. You're marrying this whole human.
People that teach the theology of half are usually insecure leaders who want to be the whole when they have a half.
What? See, this. Let me tell y'all, people I don't fool with on a weekly basis.
we just haven't dialogue.
They don't know how to move on, and they get people shouting in their house, and then they want to act like they didn't do nothing. And
Yeah,
Now
we can have it
Kason is
down low.
officially part of that. Cave is one of them people. Get people shouting in their house and then be like, "Well, I gotta go." This is what Kason has done tonight. Like, cause did y'all hear what he just said? And I know somebody's shouting. Not to end it. That's how he ended. That's how he. Some of y'all finna take that and not. Let me stop before I get myself true. Cause some of y'all about to take that and not realize what he just said. Cause some of us are dating some insecure people. That's what they doing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me stop. So this is how you can find our dear brother tonight who has came on that took us to the edge. Since he tried to blame it on the show. No, he took us to the edge. And I want y'all to go support him, support his ministry. Tell us a little bit about your ministry, sir. What are you doing outside of writing books and getting us together?
So currently, right now, I'm working on my 35th degree. I'm working on my master's in teaching. So I'm quitting school after this, hopefully. And I got a little Emory degree. I got to do some. Well, that's a whole nother story.
You say
Um,
little Emory,
yeah,
baby. You know you from Atlanta, little Emory degree.
little Emory.
Little Emory degree.
Little Emory degree. And yeah, for far as ministry wise, we are holistic ministry that works in the community. So even right now, we're putting a project together. We're trying to retrieve 500 school shoes for kids going back to school in August. So you want to partner with us, let us know. Actually, I'm an elementary school teacher, and to see the level of poverty and the lack of accountability that parents have for parenting their kids, to see them come to local school in a inner city is very disturbing, to say the least. One of the things I did I did see, excuse me, a lot of kids did not even have the basic necessities: toothbrush, toothpaste, socks, shoes, things that we take for granted. There are a lot of people that look like us who are struggling within the community. So, and one of the goals that God put on my heart is to make sure that redemption is a ministry that gets into the community and not stays outside of the community. So that's something that we're focusing on right now that we're going to do in the month of July. And we're going to focus on that, and also to have other things going on that I don't want to talk about, really talk about all that, but that's the main focus right now, that we're trying to do that for the community, and we want to be a beacon of light and help those who are in need, because the reality of it is we have 30 different churches on 30 different blocks that have not touched 30 people the whole year, because we refuse to go outside the four walls of the church. And the only time that we want to get outside the four walls of the church is when we're trying to push political campaigns, or we're asking people to hit our cash out. So we have to do better with ministry as a whole. So the point of the ministry is we want to make sure that we do what Jesus says: "What I've done to the least of these, you have done unto me."
So we was on here talking about relationships. He done brought up a whole nother relationship. Now, please go support Pastor Kasin Hamilton. Kasin K. Hamilton. I like my middle initial marker there. Kind of love it. Because you got the people shouting again. Love community hurt. Yes, I do too. Dr. James. That's why I had to put that up to listen. Like y'all support this brother. I secretly watch you on Facebook. I have several churches I watch on Sundays, and you are one of them. And so y'all go to kkhbooks.com, follow his churches, Redemption ATL. Y'all can find him on Facebook. Put in the chat. I know your beautiful wife is on. If y'all can put in how to connect, we got it. Redemption Alpharetta. Y'all see the link. And how to follow you. Y'all, this has been a beautiful conversation. I would keep going, but I know
you kicking me off. You kicking me off. You kicking me off.
Yeah, I would cut. We come. Y'all got to come back. I got Latasha Matthews. I got to bring back. I got you. I got to bring back, because honey, when we get on conversations around ethics and boundaries and relationships, listen, the people they right here. So yes, thank you for putting the Cash App up. I was gonna ask you to put your Cash App up. And I give out. I have this little offering I can offer, but you will see it is so small. But
thank you.
But one day, healthy holy conversation is gonna be big. That's my declaration over this platform.
Make sure you invite me back. Make sure you invite me back.
Oh, you will be back. And we bless you tonight. Thank you for helping again. Please, please, please. Yeah, this book right here. He's talking about little Emory degree. That was funny. Like this little book right here. Like my friends get on me for saying little, but this book is so packed with nuggets that I'm sorry, our local pastors aren't going around saying them. Like I have never in life seen a pastor say it's all right, single person, to go out and be single. They normally trying to curve that and be like, you need to prepare yourself for marriage. You need He's saying in the book, you can be single because because you can be selfish and single because you are. Like he just said it. Like you worry
It's
about
true.
your
I
meal.
mean,
That's what
and
you
that's
really
it.
need to
Like I
worry
said,
about. That's you.
not to go deep, but that's once again we have to get back to teaching sound theology. We have to get
Woo!
back. We have to get back to stop preaching text out of context to fit our context. We have to stop trying to pimp the people because we're trying to slice up scriptures to make it say what we want it to say. The text says in Corinthians, even Paul says a single person is in good position because they can focus on the things of God. Those who are married have to share their time because they have to now focus as their spouse as the number one priority. Why do we cherry pick scriptures to continue to perpetuate these lies that's not even biblical? So that's
Yeah,
my
who
that's my
DM
whole
me?
lane of ministry. Like, let's get back to reading the
I can't.
Bible.
I want to throw something at you, Pastor. Nah, you open up a
Hermeneutics,
whole.
homiletics, pedagogy. That's how man. That's how some spiritual integrity. Come on, man. All right, that's enough.
I got about 4 people I know running how I just screamed. They I know one of them. She the one was starting stuff tonight. She probably done
All right.
ran. Look. She probably done ran. They run. Contest lead about practice. Come on, Dr. Sherry. That's Dr. Sherry
Look,
Crow right there, baby. Yes, she
look.
did. Look, listen, y'all. We love you, sir. You gonna come back? I got some people that probably want to sit with you. Y'all like let's have this round table because y'all know that's my thing. Like, listen, context matters. Tonight we proved it. Y'all, man of God, you did that thing. So y'all
Can I,
please
can I
donate it.
can I
Hmm?
release a word before? Can I release a word before I go?
Yes.
For
What is
you,
the
for you,
blessing over the people?
yes. For you and your ministry, I just want to say prophetically that continue to do what God has called you to do. And remember, oftentimes when you are a trailblazer, oftentimes you're gonna get burnt while you create a new trail. That's a part of being a trailblazer. Therefore, the Spirit of the Lord says, everywhere I'm taking you, it may be different contexts, may be different people, it may put you in different arenas. But remember what Paul said: I became all things to all people so that I may win some. There's some people even around you that love you, but they don't understand what God is taking you. But they don't understand what God has given you is a kingdom assignment that does not look like the church, but it is a part of the church. And for those who have an ear, will hear what you have to say, but do not be disturbed in the spirit. I mean, to see the Spirit of the Lord says, because what you're doing is going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be rough. But the people that you're going to touch, hear me carefully, prophetically, and I hear it, I'm gonna leave it right here. They're gonna look different, they're gonna act different, they're gonna be the marginalized people that the church doesn't want to deal with. But Jesus says, many are called, but few are chosen. There's some Gentiles that God is calling you to, but do not get caught up with Israel. But the Spirit of the Lord said, make sure you focus on the Gentiles. And that's the word of the Lord on tonight.
Silence is for me. I received that, Pastor. Yeah. Y'all bless this man. I want to send him what I have, and this we can't be ending healthy holy like this. He got me in front of the people. Y'all stayed on to then nobody drop off. Y'all stayed on, so there's my accountability, and I receive what you said. So we bless you for coming. You will be
Thank you for having me.
back.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all see everything that needs to go to kkhbooks.com. Please support this ministry, support the school outreach. Cash app is posted. Put it up again. We got to move because I am not going to cry in front of y'all, and I got to go to dinner with my friend.
I should have
Yeah, no,
texted you
she
that.
don't.
I'm sorry. I should
Like,
have
you in
texted
my
you
city, we supposed to be eating. I'm crying in the car. I appreciate you so much, Pastor, for coming and rightly dividing and giving us good theology. Yeah, this is it. Good theology. You got people on your personal cash app, so I know your your wife is on here. So what that whatever that may look like,
You could tell them they can send it to Redemption ATL. Just put my name in there. We can get it. It's not a big deal.
And they will divvy it up. Listen, look, I gotta get off of here because then that's a pastor. Y'all hear that? He said, and we will handle the money correctly. Who? That's another conversation. How many more conversations we got? We will put my name on it and we'll handle it correctly. Listen. Oh, let me get off of here. I love y'all, friends,
and those who give on tonight. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Again, I will send it where I need to send it, and I love y'all. Thank y'all. Please stay healthy and holy. We'll be back in July because I took my rest break. So we'll be back in July. Actually, we'll be back. I saw one of my guests for Juneteenth. We got a Juneteenth special because we're coming out here talking about Florida and this foolishness. Pastor Kasin, please support us. We might. When you said that, you don't even know. We're coming here talking about Florida and this foolishness, trying to get rid of Black history. Like, what's wrong with you? But we'll be back Juneteenth. We'll see y'all then. To come back and talk about what all of the history are they really trying to erase, looking at even from gay rights to Black history, to how that's even affecting our white brothers and sisters who are for us, not trying to push against us. And so we'll see y'all June 19th. Be blessed.
I'm gonna leave that alone now. That's a whole other conversation.
So we'll be back. I love y'all. Have a blessed night. Go eat. Let me go meet up with my friend and Pastor Kasin. Please know you're always welcome to this platform. Y'all be